The initial inspiration for Room to Grow came to me as a social worker working at the time with school-age children. It was clear to me that so many of the challenges in later childhood would be more properly addressed by way of prevention at the very beginning of their lives in partnership with their parents.
We've set out to address the multitude of needs that families are facing raising children in low-income circumstances. We uniquely combine parenting education with material goods that include books, toys, clothing, equipment, bedding, and we connect families to other community resources and make referrals to help them expand their network.
The sessions I had with my case manager, Miss Anita, she's wonderful. It felt like a therapy session every time. I was able to just sort all of my personal life out.
But I'm like, you know what, Abiana is going to be a reader. When I came and I see all these books available to me, that I can get 5 books every 3 months, and I'm telling her she loves books.
Just giving out clothes or toys is not enough, and it's not, but Room to Grow is doing so much more. They're building relationships, they're building continuity, they're letting parents know that their role is important, that they're respected, and that helps to build the parent-child relationship.
It's being treated like a person and not a statistic. And what meant the most to me was someone saw me, she understood me, and she listened. She cared. It's bigger than the items that we receive here, which I'm very grateful for, but it's the bond and the memory.
We are committed to making sure that there are warm, healthy, trusting relationships with our families that not only last for the 3 years that they're in the program, but beyond.
The idea really is extraordinarily simple: to ensure that every child born in this country be given the same chance, the same access to resources needed for a strong and healthy start in life.
Everyone, can you hear me? Everyone, good evening, and welcome from Room to Grow. Tonight, we celebrate and we honor success that's been 25 years in the making. But before we do that, before I kick off the program, I want us to sit back, close our eyes, and think about those great vocals that we just heard from YPC. Courtesy of Young People's Chorus. Thank you very much. Matilda never sounded better to my ears. So, a lot of you won't know me. My name is Lionel Harris, and I've had some people do know me. I have my fans. My name is Lionel Harris. I've had the privilege and honor of serving on Room to Grow's national board now for 4 years, and for a year prior to that, I chaired the Boston Advisory Board as well. I first came to Room to Grow in about 2016. This pop-up donation center had sprung up in my neighborhood in Boston South End. And my wife Irene and I made the decision we wanted to start donating our daughter Kaylee's books, puzzles, clothes to that donation center. At that time, my daughter Kaylee was 3, and if we flash over to this table here, there's Kaylee, 10 years old, with my wife. Stand up, Kaylee. And today is her 10th birthday, and my son Ian. So represent Team Harris. Folks have asked me how I was able to settle on Room to Grow so quickly as a place to place my philanthropic chips, if I can say that. And I answer them and I tell them Room to Grow really resonated with me from a personal and professional sense, right? So the first key thing about Room to Grow that you should know about me, I've always been concerned with equity in a societal sense, right? And Room to Grow services currently 1,300 families across 2 cities and growing, and literally is in the eye of the storm when it comes to correcting some of the imbalances and inequities that we see in many U.S. cities these days. So that really struck a chord with me. The second thing that drew me to Room to Grow was a strong and consistent return on investment, which shouldn't surprise you. I have an investment background, right? But the basic idea behind the model is to invest a relatively modest amount of resources early on in the early days for a family, which I believe then generates strong societal benefits down the line that can have significant economic benefits further down the line. That resonates with me. And then my third consideration relates to growth potential, also an artifact of my investment background. I wasn't looking for a large organization that was in a steady state. I was looking for a situation that I can get involved with where the opportunity set and the organizational stars were aligned such that the growth potential could accelerate. And the organization was small enough that I could actually positively, personally affect that trajectory. And so those are the things that drew me to Room to Grow. And as I sat back and thought about it, it's the kind of thing, Room to Grow's proposition is the kind of thing that kind of sells itself. And I think most of you, if not all of you in the room tonight, would agree with that basic premise. I think we can also agree as a group that propositions like Room to Grow that has proven as durable, long-lasting, as impactful as they have been, don't just happen from nothing, right? They don't just happen on their own. It takes an incredible community of folks, like the folks that are sitting out there in the audience tonight, right? Many of you, to support all these families. And so this is just an acknowledgement from Room to Grow, all of our team members. We want to thank all of our partners, all the volunteers, the members of our leadership councils, my fellow board members, even the Room to Grow graduates. You deserve a hand of an applause, so give yourself some applause. Okay, I'm going to transition this over to hear from a very special guest. And I'll start by just mentioning that when I joined Room to Grow, the leadership team, I never imagined that I would be able to meet with and to collaborate with such an amazing group of people, right? One is sitting right in front of me right now, smiling. For example, our wonderful CEO, Akila King, who's fabulous. You have the amazing Julie Burns, who is Room to Grow's founder and our current board chair, okay? The incredible leaders on our board of directors and our local leadership councils, they're all amazing. And then there's Uma Thurman. I'm gonna do a little audience participation here just to prove a point, so bear with me, okay. I'm gonna ask you to raise your hand if you've seen the movie Kill Bill Volume 1 at least once. Okay, that's good, okay. How many people have seen the movie Kill Bill Volume 1 more than a dozen times? Oh, I have some competition out there. I think that's still pretty strong, but you get the point. I'm a huge fan of Uma's and the fine work that she's done on the big screen over the years, right? I have been for a long time, and I remain that way. But that said, while I've always been a big fan, what's taken on far greater significance in my mind are the many wonderful qualities that Uma has brought to the table, to this board, and to the organization. And I've come to appreciate this as she, I, and the rest of the Room to Grow directors have worked through challenges and opportunities over the last several years. Let me tell you what I think about Uma and why she's a great director and supporter of Room to Grow and why she's a great friend. Uma is an incredibly creative and independent thinker. She is not afraid to express non-consensus views that are needed and valued by her fellow leaders, especially me. She is a courageous and driven person. She is always, always modest and always respectful of others. She is so very down to earth in a way that is welcoming and also charming and disarming at the same time. Uma operates with empathy that endures whenever you have a conversation, as we had several times over the years. She's always curious about what's going on in my world, what's going on with my family, with Irene and with Kaylee. It's never about herself. And then I would say, finally, we share many of the same passions, many of the same areas, most importantly, room to grow. But unlike me, Uma's passion has been on full display, particularly in 2023. Witness her appearance with our CEO, Akila King, on MSNBC this past spring. Witness Uma's appearance on Jimmy Fallon just a few short weeks ago. Witness Uma's appearance on Whoopi Goldberg's The View just a few days ago, right? And none of it has been about Uma herself. It is always about raising awareness for room to grow and drawing attention to the need. Now, I know that our CEO and her entire team are out there on a day in, day out basis, tirelessly executing this work. But I also believe that Uma's efforts this year have underpinned a good chunk of the momentum that the organization is currently experiencing. And this year, it's 25th year. And that's probably why many of you are sitting out there today. So, without further ado, let me introduce one of Room to Grow's most stalwart champions and my good friend, Uma Thurman. Uma?
Does this way work too? Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Lionel. Thank you for that really beautiful introduction and for sharing your passion for Room to Grow. We feel it every time we meet, every time we plan and find new ways forward and past obstacles. And thank you to the Room to Grow staff who are here tonight, as well as our dedicated volunteers and supporters. Thank you. I am thrilled to be standing here with you to mark this amazing milestone for Room to Grow and to kick off the celebration. Our program, at its core, has largely remained the same over the last 25 years. Our evidence-based solutions allows us to be poised for future expansion, yes. And I am thrilled that we have arrived at this inflection point in the organization's history. While I think about how incredible it is to reach this point, I also think back and reflect on how far we've come together. Over the last few years, we've gone through a number of challenges and growing pains, from restructuring and rebuilding our leadership to fulfilling the evolving needs of our families and pivoting to provide support during a global pandemic. We've been through a lot. Despite all those challenges, it is truly beautiful to see how we've come out on the other side. There is an energy and a buzz surrounding Room to Grow right now, and it's catching. We have a groundswell of support from both longtime dedicated partners as well as those of you newly introduced to the organization, and we are growing. I recently heard a joke that TSA PreCheck can serve as an initial background check in weeding out potential partners in the dating pool. But I think there is a better screener. Passion for and commitment to an organization like Room to Grow. Proof of empathy. This is a tough one. Being here tonight, I know that I am surrounded by tremendous philanthropic people, dedicated individuals and companies who are passionate about equity in their community. So your support here tonight matters. With your help, more families will have access to the essential equipment that we all need when bringing a baby home from the hospital and through those critical first 3 years. And new parents will continue to feel supported and less alone as they take on the joys and challenges of raising a little child. I want to personally thank you for being here from the bottom of my heart, and I implore you to continue to support Room to Grow, not just tonight, but for the next 25 years. Your support is critical to our success. And now, it is my great joy and honor to invite Room to Grow's fearless leader, the queen of the team, Miss Akila King.
Thank you, Uma and Lionel, and good evening, Room to Grow family. We clean up well, don't we? I can see you all the way in the back as well. Tonight represents many things: an anniversary, a reunion, perhaps a bit of an orientation for those of you who are just getting to know us. But if I were to compare this evening to a familiar life event, I would call this a homecoming. Tonight is a homecoming of a community that deeply believes in the mission of Room to Grow, who sees our impact with clarity, and who shares a vision of a world where all children and their families have what they need to thrive and can build the life that they deserve. A vision that, given systemic inequities, inadequate solutions, and deeply rooted hostility, much of which we've seen pan out in the last few weeks, is often too tried and tested. As the opening video highlighted, Room to Grow sets out to close social, emotional, and material gaps for families raising children in low-income circumstances. Our holistic three-pronged model and 3-year program provides expecting parents with personalized support, essential baby and toddler items, and connections to community resources. What we offer is more than an adequate solution, and we have a track record to prove it. 9 out of 10 Room to Grow children are meeting their developmental milestones on time. Yes. And 90% of families report that Room to Grow helps them achieve their goals as parents and helps reduce their stress. And while these numbers are certainly impressive, it's the family testimonials in the video and in your program book, the lovely emails that families send our team each and every day, and the long list of expecting parents that are referred to us by participants and graduates that truly highlight the magic of Room to Grow. If our strengths-based approach and evidence-informed curriculum are the basic ingredients, then the deep personal relationships we build with our families is the special sauce. 2023 has been a remarkable year for Room to Grow. In addition to maintaining strong program outcomes, we've fully reopened our family centers, launched new partnerships with iconic brands, increased our media presence, and have been the recipient of a meaningful investment from Mackenzie Scott. Yes. Last but not least, earlier this year, we kicked off a new strategic plan, one that focuses on strengthening our infrastructure, deepening our understanding of our long-term impact, welcoming more families in Boston and New York, and this is a big announcement that I'm thrilled to officially make, launching our 3rd region in Chicago in 2025. These exciting milestones, this momentum, just doesn't reflect a singular moment in time, but rather is the culmination of several years of effective programming. It is affirmation that what Julie Burns so brilliantly dreamt up 25 years ago, yes, it was Julie, and what so many of you have felt compelled to just get behind, is formidable and essential. We wholeheartedly share these accomplishments with you, our community, as we would not be here without your dedicated support. There are some of you in the room with us tonight who have been with us since the very beginning. And it is at this time I would like to acknowledge you. So, if you join the Room to Grow family, whether as our founder, a board member, donor, or graduate, as early as 1998, 25 years ago, would you please stand? We have Liz and Wassa, some of our first families, right here in the front. Now please stand if you joined the Room to Grow family 20 years ago. Ah, there we go. Some of our graduates, Mary, shout out to Mary Cannon. "15 years ago. And 10 years ago. Now this includes some team members, so Amanda, Bethany, Eunice, Joanna, you're close enough. Rosh, you have Richard, Joanna, Jen. Thank you. It is because of you standing and all of you in the room and all of you watching at home that in 25 years, Room to Grow has been able to partner with nearly 6,000 families. It is because of you we are able to confidently move forward in our work in Boston and New York. It is because of you that we are primed to expand to Chicago. The Room to Grow community runs wide and deep. It's made up of financial supporters, in-kind donors, community partners, volunteers of all ages, I'll add. And tonight we're so proud to honor a select few of these extraordinary supporters. The Boston Bullpen Project, Keith Powers and the New York City Council, M&T Bank Wilmington Trust, and the Select Equity Group. 2023 Room to Grow Champions of Change.
The City Council has been the first real public funding for Room to Grow, and I've been happy to be a champion for that funding inside the City Council and our city budget every year to make sure that we can deliver resources to communities that really need it, and we trust Room to Grow and the leadership here to make sure that that help really gets out there.
Boston Bullpen Project, it's so organic, it's a hands-on charity. The model is that we just want to help people in need.
We operate under the philosophy as a community bank that our success is dependent on the success and health of the communities in which we do business. And we feel a real loyalty to those communities. So we really accentuate in the way that we work, in the way that we think, in the way that we prioritize our resources to supporting that community in the most fundamental and profound ways. And that's what Room to Grow believes in too.
If you were to wake up every day and your sole purpose were to make the world a better place, what would you do? Through aligning yourself with a not-for-profit organization that is doing that work. But those people are waking up every single day, getting out of bed, and they are doing that work.
I think it's a really good opportunity to give back. You know, we're all blessed with different things. You want to give back to make room for more.
And we want to make sure that children, particularly at a really early level, don't get left behind here. And that's what we're trying to do when we fund groups like Room to Grow, and we work with them and collaborate with them, and that's what they're doing every day.
I love their mission. I love what they're doing. And I'm also so impressed by the people who are actually executing and working here.
Again, it's such a personal program. It's not set up like a hospital or clinic, or it's a place where people are welcome and embraced and carried so that they can carry themselves, you know.
And that makes us feel good that we had just a small part in making someone else's life better.
Please join me in welcoming to the stage Steve Alperin and Michael Conley from the Boston Bullpen Project, New York City Council member Keith Powers, and representatives from M&T Bank Wilmington Trust and the Select Equity Group. Oh, yes. Photo? Quick photo. Oh, there's the right there. Our final 2023 Champion of Change is two-time Emmy Award-winning journalist and author Tamron Hall. In her 30-year career, Tamron has graced our televisions as a national news correspondent for NBC News, an anchor for MSNBC, and a co-host of the Third Hour of Today. Not only is she now the host and executive producer of the nationally syndicated talk show Tamron Hall, which just returned for its 5th season, but Tamron makes it a priority to support and raise awareness around causes that work to end domestic violence, address homelessness, and end early childhood literacy gaps. Earlier this year, the New York City Council honored her with a proclamation for outstanding service and achievements. And tonight, Room to Grow is honored to name her a Champion of Change. Please welcome to the stage, Tamron Hall.
Thank you, Akila. I'm going to get my thoughts together because after seeing the video, and I'm still out of breath dancing to the kids, they were actually on stage, the young people's choir, and I'm out of breath watching that energy. You know, I'll be very honest with you. I always like to go in with prepared remarks because you can get caught up in a moment and your mind races and you need a prompter and you need to be reminded. And full disclosure, there are words here written by me, but they don't speak to how I feel right now. So I do have to pivot from that. So, Room to Grow. I came home with a 19-year-old single mother in Luling, Texas, population 2,000. My mom's name is Mary. I was the only child born in the hospital in the town that day. Sounds like Jesus, I know. But instead, they named me Tamron. They were so close, so close, so close. The first father figure I had was Lewis Mitchell, my grandfather, who was born in 1901, a sharecropper who could not read, and yet I make my living reading words and delivering messages and telling stories. I say that to say I am not exceptional, but I have an extraordinary life because of people who believed in me, people who rooted on that 19-year-old single mom, that she would get in her gremlin, and I'm 53, so those who remember gremlin, stay with this story. Her beat up gremlin driving from the gas station where her dad filled her car, and he begged her to stay. And she said, "Dad, I have to just try." Driving from Luling, Texas to Dallas, Fort Worth, was a village waiting for her of my aunts. And I am truly so Southern and so country that all of my aunts have the middle name May. So there was Katie May, Annie May. If you had a May in it, you were my family. She was able, in this challenging time for a 19-year-old, have a village around her. That was a blessing. What I know right now at this hour and this minute, this day, there's a 19-year-old who doesn't have that village, but yet her baby is as special as Tamron Hall. Her baby will be able to go on and achieve great things because of Room to Grow. We all need to feel like someone is rooting for us. We all need to accept that we don't start at the same line. And I wish I could end this night saying we end up at the same line. But the gap can close. And every inch of the gap closing matters because it pushes you a little further. It allows you to believe in yourself a little bit more. And I'm speaking from the perspective of a kid who had a 19-year-old mom who decorated cakes at night, went to school in the day, did other jobs on the weekend, and then called on other people to drop me off at school, and someone else picked me up at school. But I knew I was loved, and I knew she was supported. And Room to Grow does that in the testimonies that you hear. And the exceptional part of it is that my aunts knew my mom's name. We will never know the names of the children and the people that the universe put us in this room to help. But if we're lucky, and I know we are, we'll feel their impact because the world incrementally will be better. So it is my honor to be in this room. I had my first child only at 48 years old. Thank you for that sympathy applause. It is appreciated. I'm now 53. Thank you for the even more sorrowful applause. I am fortunate to be able to call Tova Klein, who is with the Barnard Toddler Center, where my son went to school. And in the middle of trying to apply to programs, the world shuts down. And I say, Tova, what is going to happen? And she said, it's going to be all right. She offered me those words, but those moms you saw in that video, they got that same reassurance from Tova because of Room to Grow. I'm honored to sit at the table with Denise and Jarvis. Jarvis, get off your phone. I'm over here giving this speech talking about you. These teenagers. Who you calling? Give me that phone. I never met them until today. But Denise, in your eyes, I see my mom. And Jarvis, in you, I see the uncertainty when you feel like all of these things are happening, but where do I fit in? You fit in just fine. And you will do great things. And you have a great choice in red jackets, and I did not know you until tonight. But you're a graduate, and these people in this room are rooting for you, and we're watching because you are a phoenix that will rise, and no one will keep that from you. And as long as people like you root on people like me, like Jarvis, and like those beautiful faces, we all win. So it is my great honor and truly a privilege to be here. As I said, I wrote remarks, but you have to speak to the moment. And the moment that Room to Grow has spoken to for all of these incredible years is a moment that matters. So from my heart, I thank you. Congratulations on 25 incredible years. And when my son is 25 and I'm Methuselah, We will still be rooting for you. Tomorrow morning, I will be live on my talk show. I will be talking about this moment. So I love you all. Enjoy the evening. Congratulations. And I always remind myself, as you look at these faces on the wall, but for the grace of God, there go I. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
We are so thrilled to be here with all of you all this evening. As I said earlier, my name is Trisha. I'm joined by some of my Room to Grow team members. This is Raul and Allison. And if you have ever volunteered at one of our Room to Grow sites, then you have probably met, interacted, and worked with one of us.
We will now be taking a short programming break while dinner is served, but first we want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for helping to make this night possible. We ask you all to please hold your applause until the end.
We want to thank our icon sponsor, Warburg Pincus, and we also wanted to thank our visionary sponsors, Nancy Twine, Select Equity Group, and M&T Bank and Wilmington Trust.
We also want to thank our champion sponsors, Baby Bjorn, Prada, the Sutherland family, and O Canada.
And finally, our leaders, Maggie Tolles, Jacqueline LaSaracina, and Corey Sanders, and Overland Entertainment.
Enjoy your meal. We'll be back shortly.
And so we're going to say thanks to everybody, but I want to say to anybody listening in Joe Biden's office, this is an organization the United States needs to get behind.
Yep.
You need to get behind this. We will put all information on our website. You can, I can tell you whatever you need to know, but you need to get behind this because this will really help quickly and really in a way that will make us happier as a nation. Visit our website for more information. Thank you all for coming. We'll be right back.
From Studio 6B in Rockefeller Center in the heart of New York City, it's The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon.
Our first guest is an Oscar-nominated and Golden Globe-winning actress who is also a founding board member of Room to Grow. The 25th anniversary gala is October 25th at the Ziegfeld Ballroom in New York City. Please welcome Uma Thurman. Thank you so much for coming back to the show. It is so great to see you.
It is my pleasure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Late night is back.
It's back. We're finally back. Yes, I've been missing it, but thank you. It means a lot to me. The last time I saw you, I don't know if you remember this, but I have to bring it up. Your daughter was on our show.
Yeah.
Maya was performing. And she sang, and you were just here as just a supportive mom.
Yep.
And it was so cool.
Sneaking around in the back.
Yeah, and you were in the backstage there, just rooting her.
Dancing.
I loved it, but that was so. I just love that because I didn't get a chance to say like, oh, by the way, your mom, Uma Thurman, was here rooting you on. I didn't want to make a big deal.
No, she wouldn't like that.
She wouldn't. I mean, yeah. So, but I love that you did that backstage, and it was so charming and very.
Oh.
Very. And you also had your younger daughter.
Yeah, my little one was with us. Yeah.
Luna?
It was a family affair.
Yeah. How old is
Luna's 11.
She's 11.
Yeah.
All right. I have a 10 and an 8-year-old.
I know.
Yeah. So they're getting older.
Yeah, I know. Enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah.
Enjoy
right. It just
it.
happens, right? It's just
Oh yeah.
I'm getting to that kind of years of like, Dad, I want to, like, what's a crush? I want to have a crush on somebody. I'm like,
Yeah, you've got very little time left, I'm afraid to warn you. Like,
I do, right?
You have very little time left.
I know, okay, I'm
You,
loving it. I'm
soak
loving
it up.
every single
this
second.
Christmas has to be the best time of your life.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, it is. She always keeps saying
It will
she
be,
goes,
too.
She goes, when did you have your first crush? What are you in again? Fifth grade? I go, I had mine in 6th.
Yeah.
And then next year when she asks, I go, I had mine in 7th. Keep
Oh,
pushing
you
it
just
forward.
keep
yeah.
pushing it.
What is she into
You can
now?
always put braces on them, even if they need them, don't need them.
Oh, yeah, just give it to me.
Just
Yeah,
give them braces.
There you go. You're having braces whenever.
Full metal head.
That is great advice. That is absolutely. This is great
Say
advice.
to the doctor, like, I know,
Yeah,
it's fine.
you need
Just, can you
sorry.
put like some headgear on it?
Yeah, exactly. I want to talk about this because Room to Grow. You've been with them
Since the beginning, yeah.
25 years?
It's an incredible story. It's actually Maya I was pregnant with. She was now 25.
Wow.
I lived in this brownstone in Greenwich Village, and I had one neighbor who was a lovely, beautiful young woman who was my age. And I was pregnant, like getting all nervous about it, and like, how do I get ready for this baby? And what am I going to do? And what do I need? And then in the hallway, there kept being all this baby stuff piling up. And I was watching my neighbor, and she's very slender.
Yeah.
And I was becoming ginormous. And I was like, what's going on with my neighbor? So finally, I asked, her name is Julie Burns. I said, what are you doing with all this baby stuff? And she said, I've got to talk to you about it. It's a serious, serious problem in our community. There are no resources for pregnant women and babies 0 to 3 in our community. And it is the most crucial time of a child's life. 80%, babies are amazing, right? 80% of the human brain is developing in the first 3 years of life. So how we treat families, parents, and babies in that crucial window really affects the rest of their life.
Yeah, and if you don't have anything, then it's
just the duress. Yeah, there's nutrition, there's all the baby essentials that you need. I mean, it's crazy. And it also, Room to Grow does like this comprehensive wraparound where every quarter the family goes to see a social worker, and they get to ask all the questions that you need to ask as you're developing, baby is developing.
Yeah, and coming back into the workforce and getting all that stuff.
If you can, and finding other resources for job training and childcare and housing issues are a huge issue
It's
for
such
people.
a great thing for what you're doing, but I just want to show some of the things that, this is what a mother will get on this is just the first year.
Yeah.
They will get some of these things. That's just
And you need all those things.
That's just the first year. I mean, it's so helpful. It's so helpful. And is it just New York, or is it?
We are in Boston now.
Hey.
And it is my dream to see this organization be in every city where there is need and a community that wants a good tool to support their community.
Let's have it keep growing.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this too. This is the giant, awesome, fun bag.
Yeah.
This is the Donate by Mail program, okay?
Yeah.
Now, yeah. And so can you explain what this is and where do you get this?
Okay, so since we see the family every quarter, and as we all know, babies change radically like every few months, and you need new stuff. So you barely use the stuff that you had before you need new stuff.
Yep.
So it's really lightly used. So a family with a baby, and 95% of our things are recycled, upcycled. So a family with a baby just packs up the stuff they don't need anymore when they're getting their new stuff, put it in the bag, and it gets shipped back to Room to Grow.
Yeah, so if you go to roomtogrow.org, you get the bag. I think the bag is $15.
It's a commitment of $15.
$15,
and
you
then
get
I
the
think
bag
it's
sent
shipped
to you.
back.
And then it already has the shipping label and everything. So all
It's
you have to do
easy.
is fill it with stuff that you want to donate. So if you have anything, books, like you said.
Books are really important. Both English language, Spanish language, very important also. Socks, gloves, winter coats, all the things that you need.
Yeah, all that stuff. And I always bring this up every single time, but I remember when you first had Maya.
Yep.
And you told me, like, oh, Jimmy, if you're lucky enough to have kids, you have to read to them.
Yes.
And you were reading Ferdinand, by the way, to Maya.
I was reading Ferdinand. You do have to read to your children, and that's another crucial thing. And that kind of intervention, giving a family the right books to read to their child.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have that book,
You
how
don't-
can you do that for your child?
Yeah, this is great. Roomtogrow.org, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on.
I love you.
And you know you're the best. Uma Thurman, everybody. Room to Grow's 25th anniversary gala is October 25th at the Ziegfeld Ballroom in New York City. Lil Rel Howery joins us after the break. Stick around, everybody.
Tell my lady I'm feeling till I take the world. German Hollywood, wearing the silk super third. Long black shades like the super bird.
Wave Beats Music.